I still don't have a proper setup for reaction videos yet. But what's going to happen is I do want to react to MattPat's final theories. I have held off on watching them. We're going to actually want to adjust it so that I'm going to have to start one of these, aren't I, in order to make that adjustment. I'm actually going to need a break.
Hit me with a balloon.
Oh, it's because I was in the picture. Why is this not adjusted? Oh, I have to turn the... only my other camera, right? Has to be the other camera to make the adjustment. Yeah, there we go. So, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to... Let's just check the volume first.
We're preparing for the family barbecue, all in a way that's super fun for kids and super relatable for adults.
We're going to go ahead and take that back to the start. We're going to do a little bit of a reaction video. I'm going to be right in front of the TV, so I am on screen this time. And I am going to go ahead and open up the YouTube app on my phone. I'm going to do all 4 of the theories in this one video, I think. So let me get them all queued up. Here's the style theory. Here's the game theory. Yeah. And here is the food theory. I'm really actually excited for the food theory. I had to really hold myself back on watching these theories, especially with MattPat, but I did say I was going to react to them. In fact, we're going to do the food theory next. But we're starting with BLUEY is a witch. Okay. So, what's going to happen is I'm actually going to mute my tablet. So, I am going to be watching with you guys. I've found a way to make this work. I'm actually going to, without a camera, I'm actually going to be watching on my tablet as this plays in the background. And I just want to see, I want to make sure that me going in the picture didn't change it. No, it didn't. Good. So me being in the picture, it's still going to focus on the TV's image. Great. Great. Okay, so let's get this started then. We're starting with BLUEY is theory. BLUEY is a witch.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's gone barking mad.
Huh?
Today we're heading back into the wonderful world of BLUEY, the hit animated show coming to us live from the land down under. Now, in case you've missed out on this one, BLUEY's all about a family of dogs known as the Healers. There's BLUEY, her sister Bingo, her father Bandit, and her mum Chili. Each 8-minute episode sees them engaging in simple everyday adventures like playing keepy-uppy with a balloon or preparing for the family barbecue, all in a way that's super fun for kids and super relatable for adults.
This is great! They're learning a lesson and we get the house clean!
But what's really made BLUEY iconic are the episodes that focus on the wild imagination games that the family plays, which range from whale watching to pretending there's a fairy causing mischief in the house to their dad acting as a human claw machine.
Insert coin for awesome prizes.
Legitimately, this is one of the best animated kids shows that I've seen in years, tackling all the joys and stresses that are both childhood and parenting in like the purest way possible. It is so good. True story, I started watching the show with Ali about a year ago. While he's now graduated up into the world of Gravity Falls, I am so proud of you, buddy. I'm still late night binging episodes of BLUEY and relating hard to Bandit.
Oh, it's not Gravity Falls now.
More one question lingers in my mind. Is magic real in this world? Is he
I'm going to be pausing it just to make short comments. Ollie is on. Oh, if I do that, then this will actually keep it. Yeah, that is going to be a pain. Ollie's on Gravity Falls now.
Nation on display as the characters play their games really goes to the next level. Like, really, these characters are incredibly invested in their backyard adventures. Whether it's something like a very aggressive puppet,
Ow! My back! My neck! My back and my neck! Whiplash! Call my lawyer!
to something as elaborate as becoming an escaped monkey rampaging through the yard.
Would you like to see our reptile section?
And while most of it can be written off as just parents committing to the bit to like the nth degree, there are other moments of the show that seem impossible to believe. Like the episode where the kids literally learn to use magic to influence their surroundings. Or when Bingo uses a feather wand to turn everything heavy.
Cereal heavy.
I see where he's
And as
going
you
with this.
really watch the show, more and more of these strange things keep popping up. These imaginary games seem to have a ridiculous amount of influence on both the characters and the world around them. Enough so that I just kind of have to ask, is magic real in Bluey? Are all of these games actually the result of the characters casting spells, hexes, and charms on each other? Well, after digging back into the world of Bluey and pulling out some classic Fierce tricks, I believe that I can definitively prove the answer to be yes. Grab your wands and sticky geckos, friends, as we dig into the bona fide evidence of the magical conspiracy taking place in the world of Bluey. Now, on the surface, you might look at a bunch of these games and just think that it's the imagination of children at work, that they're just very invested in their games. But there's commitment, and then there's just going way beyond what you'd expect to come out of real kids at these ages. Like, to the point that these games don't feel like a bunch of toddlers playing make-believe games anymore. And this is firmly on display from the very first episode of the series. In episode 1, Magic Xylophone, we see Bluey and Bingo playing with a xylophone that can freeze anyone in place. They just straight up stop mid-step and mid-sentence. At first, Bingo and Bluey use the xylophone to freeze Bandit in place and play some pranks on him. And he commits to the bit so much that he's...
Okay, I just want to say I don't know how MattPat's gonna prove this one.
frozen when the kids aren't around, and the neighbors start giving him funny looks. Now, to be fair, you could absolutely just chalk that up to a good old dad playing along with the kids. But here's the thing. Later in the episode, Bingo gets upset because Bluey won't let her have a turn with the xylophone. And when she finally gets a hold of it later on in the episode, Bingo uses it to freeze Bluey, and it works. If Bluey truly wants the xylophone as badly as she does, and doesn't want to play along, this 7-year-old girl, she could just easily break the rules of the game and take it from Bingo. But she doesn't. Instead, she gets a pretty serious heart-to-heart with Bingo while frozen.
You always never take turns with me, and it makes me feel sad.
Now, this wouldn't be such a big deal if this was just a one-off event, but it's not. This sort of extreme imagination game is a common occurrence throughout the series. In the episode Feather Wand, again, this is the one where Bingo uses a feather to turn things heavy, we see her turn the toilet seat heavy just as her dad's getting ready to do his business. And instead of breaking from the game, he chooses to run downstairs and relieve himself, well, it's unclear where exactly, but it's implied to be in the front yard based on Chili's scream and Bandit greeting the neighbor. I mean, you could be committed to a game, sure, but at this moment, Bandit's exposing himself to his
I really have to start watching this Bluey show. I have Disney Plus, so
loved ones and his neighbors in a completely inappropriate way. Public indecency is literally a crime. Are you doing that just for the sake of an imagination game for your 4- and 7-year-olds? Speaking of being inappropriate, there are also instances like the season 2 episode Dance Mode, where the kids are given 3 chances to flick one of their parents' tails and say, which forces the parent to dance no matter where they are. Seems like it should be a fun game, right? Well, it would be if the kids didn't decide to use it on Chili when she's crossing the road. Now, obviously, this is super embarrassing for Chili, but look at her dance moves. If she were truly in full control of her body and wanted to get out of the situation, she could turn away from the crowd of cars so she doesn't have to face them, or use moves that move her further along in the street faster. Instead, she's shaking her thing in front of Wendy's windshield. Wendy apparently is just the recipient of a lot of these embarrassing healer moments. Now again, if this was just a one-off event, we could just ignore it, but it happens again to Bandit in the post office.
Are you okay? I'm fine. Just ignore this.
This right here is just disrespectful to both the store clerk and the massive line of people waiting behind him. Even when the store clerk politely asks him to stop, Bandit says that he can't.
Just stop dancing for a moment. Good, but good night. Twinkle toes. Hurry up!
It's either magic or the healers just suck. And it's here, when the games start to affect their everyday lives, when you really start to see the pretend nature of the games break down. For instance, let's take take a look at Season 3's episode Sheepdog, where Bandit pretends to be a sheep to distract the kids away from bothering their mom. But here's the thing, when Bluey isn't looking, Chief Bandit still decides to break into Wendy's yard and start eating her laundry. He even headbutts her in the rear end when she threatens to bring in chili. That right there, again, is a level of commitment that's either the result of magic or just extreme irresponsibility on the part of Bandit. Also, seriously, Wendy has got to be the most patient neighbor ever to be living next to these public nuisances. But the thing that really decides it is that even when the kids stop playing the game, Bandit doesn't drop the act. He is still acting like a sheep 20 minutes later, while his kid's been upstairs playing with the neighbor and his wife is just wrapping up her alone time. He's still doing it when everyone else has moved on from the game. But perhaps most compelling of all is Daddy Drop-Off, when Bandit has to take the kids to school and they're running late. And yet, just as he's running to the car, Bingo finds a leaf and uses it to trap Bandit in slow motion.
Racking and stacking, kids, you gotta...
If Bandit's late getting his kids to school, you'd think that he'd just ignore the game and get them in the car. That'd be the responsible thing. He could make something up about how school negates the imaginary game, or how this leaf isn't actually a magic wand, or literally anything so he can do the responsible thing and get his kids to school on time. But again, he acts like there isn't a choice here. He acts like he's been under a magic spell. The slow motion spell is only released when Bingo waves the wand again, leading to Bandit smacking into his car. But hold on.
Okay, so we're halfway through the theory now. And I'm just going to say that this is actually looking plausible. I mean, think about this. I knew that the parents in Bluey were great parents. I've watched all sorts of Bluey reviews. I know I haven't watched the show outright, but I pretty much know the plots. But looking at this, looking at MattPat bringing out all of these elements one by one and pointing them out, some of these do seem like they would be irresponsible. Like, I wish my parents would have done this when I was a kid.
Bandit is released from the spell when Bingo waves the wand, sure, but she's standing behind it. If this were truly a pretend game, there's no physical way he'd be able to know when she waved that wand. We don't even...
And there's our first evidence.
See his eyes moving or tracking behind him to look at her. Watch the clip again. In fact, we can actually go one step deeper. Here's the scene in a video editor where we can see the visuals and audio track. Check this out. Bingo saying, yeah, and the wand wave sound effect, they're right here. They're actually occurring after the wand is waved and Bandit's released. This right here shows us that there's no way Bandit would know to have sped back up again based on sound or visual cues. It can only be explained using real magic. And this is how we know magic exists in the real world. Yeah, Bluey, for real life, because we get physical proof of magic existing. Like here, where Bingo sneaks into the bathroom.
that his kid voice acting?
Brush without her hearing that just magically works.
That's weird. What's heavy?
Up to this point, Bluey hasn't been a part of the game, so she wouldn't know that things are meant to be heavy. And while she could just be pretending to not see or hear Bingo, the way her reactions are animated certainly seems to indicate that Bluey is unaware of anything that's going on. But the piece of evidence that really seals it, the one that is irrefutable and definitely proves that magic exists in this world, happens a bit later that same episode. At the top of the episode, we watch as Bingo uses the feather wand to make her dad's cereal box, bowl, and spoon heavy, forcing them all to the floor. And throughout the episode, we check in on Bandit as he attempts to prepare his breakfast. But there's one moment that absolutely stands out.
For the record, the seal joke was not funny to me. Sorry, Matt.
What's wrong, Bandit? You used to be able to lift spoons.
Did you catch it? Here, as Bandit tries to use this broom and rugby ball to pry the spoon off the floor, the broom physically bends, and that ball is squeezed under the heavy weight of the spoon. And we see the broom bend starting at the spoon. There is no way that this could happen if the spoon was at its normal weight. Literally no physical way for that to happen. Therefore, the feather wand actually had to have worked on that spoon, giving us even more definitive proof that magic actually exists in the Blueyverse. And that suddenly puts other episodes into a whole new context. For instance, in the season 1 episode Fairies, the healer household is bombarded with shenanigans brought about by the dreaded fairies.
You know what this means? What? We've got fairies!
Now, a lot of this episode is framed as Bandit trying to make up to Bingo for ignoring her earlier in the day. And on a surface level, you might just watch this episode and think that the parents are making the magic happen for their kids. But for as much as the parents here could have made some of the things in the episode happen, there is no way they did all of it. For instance, midway through the episode, everyone's hiding in the closet, and Bingo is tasked with finding clues as to what the fairies might want in order to leave them alone. When she returns sometime later, the house's sitting room is a disaster. Toys and trash are scattered everywhere. Figurines are hanging from the ceiling. Koalas just chilling. Like I said, this is an Australian show. It's implied that Bingo was the one doing all this, but there's just no way. In order to hang those koalas from the walls and that shoe in the middle of the room, she would have needed a stepladder that's at minimum 8 times her own height. And for as much as Chili and Bandit disregard the needs and safety of their fellow neighbors, I don't think that even they would allow their favorite 4-year-old to use something like that unsupervised. But still, that little bit, it's happening off camera. What about something that's happening on camera in real time? That'd be pretty convincing, right? Well, in that very same episode, after discovering a fairy ring with Bandit's phone inside, they turn around and find that the entire yard has been covered in fairy rings. There is no way that Bandit and Chili could have set all of these up. We see them in literally every scene leading up to this big reveal. And if those rings had already been there, Bingo and Bluey would have already seen them. And if they're just pretending to not see them, you wouldn't get a Bingo reaction looking like this. Her eyes are huge. She is shooketh by those rings. But we don't just have to assume here either. Again, we get physical proof that they weren't there a second ago. Well, the camera does its best to try and frame out the rest of the yard for the bulk of the scene. Look at where Bluey's standing relative to that first fairy ring. If you map her position out relative to the wide shot that we later cut to, technically we should have been able to see that tablet fairy ring in the bottom right corner of the screen, but it's not there until Bluey notices all the rest of the fairy rings across the yard. This to have been done using magic. So, am I saying that fairies exist in the Blueyverse? You bet I am. At the end of the episode, Bingo straight up sees a fairy setting up her dominoes in the same heart shape that Bingo made for her dad. Well, it could just be imaginary, and the show tries to leave it open for interpretation. All the physical proof we have, from bending brooms to fairy rings to slow motion wands, prove otherwise. And now that we have a couple undeniable pieces of proof that magic exists here, so what? I mean, that's crazy and all, but why should we care about this? Well, we can actually track the source of the magic, and it's none other than, if you look back through all the episodes.
Wait. You're saying it's the mom that's going all the magic? We only got about 2 more minutes left in this theory. And Matt, yeah, you had me. You had me this whole time. But you better have a really good explanation for this.
And evidence, you'll realize that many of the imaginary games played throughout the series are actually all created by Chili using some form of magic. Some examples: in Asparagus, Chili gives Bluey a piece of asparagus and explains,
"It's a magic asparagus. It turns people into any animal you want."
Chili's whispering this to Bluey, so Bandit and Bingo can't hear her and know what the game is. And yet when Bluey shouts, Bandit immediately turns into a donkey. Chili
And he found it.
Created a magic item and is teaching her kids to do the same all throughout the series. Magic that, again, goes a bit too far when Bluey transforms her dad from a peacock to a walrus and causes him to tumble out of a tree, landing on his back. That's not playing along for the funsies, that is risking severe personal injury. Additionally, Chili's often shown to be able to control the magic within the games that Bluey and Bingo come up with. In the episode Magic, when Chili sees Bluey and Bingo using magic on Bandit, the kids run and she's able to stop them.
Who taught you how to use magic?
In fact, Bluey just straight up confirms that she learned to use her magic from Mom.
You use magic. Magic? Yeah, you can use it to make people do anything. That taught me.
Honestly, I could go on and on. Like in the ending of that very same episode where Bingo uses magic to sit her dad down and force her mom to the door, all without dad looking. Regardless, I think that the one big key takeaway of all of this is whether it's extreme pretend or real magic, the healers would suck to have in your neighborhood. Oh sure, this magical family may seem charming to all of us happiness-starved children of the internet for their love and commitment to play, but that's us looking in from the outside, removed from the situation. As we've seen here today, this one family disrupts the flow of daily life for literally everyone around them. Whether it's in the line at the post office, or when you're trying to dry your laundry in the front yard, or when your name is Lucky's dad and you're getting mauled by magical crocodiles, attacked by magical snakes, or just gnawed by luck.
So it's not just the family.
Oh, this is real, huh? I don't know about this.
Imagine how it would feel to have your adult neighbor pop out of a bush and start gnawing at your foot. There's childlike whimsy and spreading of joy, sure, and then there's assault of your fellow human, a fellow dog creature thing. So while it might seem to be all fun and games for Bluey and Bingo, living close to these monsters would be literally anything but. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Alright, so that's the first one. I am planning on doing all these in the same video to obviously if you like that. I don't know how things are gonna sound because I'm not using an actual capture card. I'm playing my soundbar at maximum volume. Directions may not be the absolute best because I am looking on at this thing. Trying to look at the camera as much as I can. And just to keep, because I do want to keep it fair use, that I paused it a lot less than I did the last time. So give me some credit there. I can't see if anyone's watching because the phone is pointing at me because I have to use the front camera in order for it to successfully capture the TV. But we're moving on because I don't want to wait another minute. So I'll just go ahead and refresh this. The next one I wanted to watch was the food theory. That last one, the nail polish, is gonna be a very long one. That's like a half hour. This is gonna be a very long video because I'm watching all four at once. And I am gonna have to just discuss a little bit after each one to kind of break it up. Yeah, I mean, I honestly went into that not thinking much. You saw me pause the video and say, well, wait, how is the mother the one in control of all the magic? And then he goes and has proof, of course. And the neighbors too. So it's not just the parents, it's the neighbors as well. They're very well could be magic in the Blueyverse. We don't want to play that. We want to play this. I actually have to refresh my tablet back to 8. You should be on 0 and go.
Lurking underneath McDonald's golden arches. If you're new here, well, then this is the beginning of a beautiful rabbit hole all about broken ice cream machines, mystery meat McNuggets, and the fact that McDonald's real business isn't even selling food. Today's iteration of our...
That wasn't at 0 either. That was less than 10 seconds.
If you've been watching this channel for a while now, you already know that we're pretty much the king of uncovering shady mysteries lurking underneath McDonald's golden arches. If you're new here, well, then this is the beginning of a beautiful rabbit hole all about broken ice cream machines, mystery meat McNuggets, and the fact that McDonald's real business isn't even selling food. Today's iteration of our McSeries, though, is all about how this corporate superpower is at the dawn of another market-defining play for global McDomination. But this time, they're not using Grimace shakes or chicken nuggies to take over the planet. They're using
Aww.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, the channel that compiles the supersized lies behind supersized fries. Today we're talking about the new mysterious McDonald's restaurant that I've been seeing all over news stories and on Twitter for the last couple of weeks, Cosmic. This thing just launched its first pilot restaurant outside of Chicago. You'd think...
Never heard of it. Again, MattPat teaching me about something I never heard of.
That a restaurant chain, a restaurant behemoth for that matter, as successful as McDonald's with tens of thousands of global locations, couldn't possibly need a whole new restaurant, especially one with a mascot that looks like this guy.
Well,
uncanny, isn't he? Like some sort of Captain EO creepypasta, a creepy McPasta. What could...
A lot of chains are that way. I mean...
possibly have inspired this bizarre business decision to open up a whole new restaurant chain with this unbelievably uncomfortable mascot? Well, as ridiculous as it might sound, I'm going to show you how this might be one of McDonald's most clever and strategic business decisions in years. Where to start? Well, since I'm not in the Chicago area at the moment to test out a lot of menu items, and most of you watching aren't either, we'll just start answering questions with the info that we have from the internet, which surprisingly is a lot. The first big question that came into my mind when I saw the announcement for Cosmic was, how is this different than a regular McDonald's? And the short answer is, less food, more drinks. While McDonald's lords over the fast food market, Cosmic's is gunning for the fast beverage market, producing a slate of complex drinks like tropical spiceade with pre-workout, churro-flavored frappes, blueberry ginger boost with boba popping bubbles. These aren't your dad's cup of joe, my friends. These are colorful, customizable drinks that are designed to have in-your-face flavors and enough caffeine and sugar to take your bloodstream on the ride of its life. Patrons are encouraged to mix and match syrups, energy shots, and toppings into the drinks to make each sip a unique and oh-so-shareable experience for your Insta stories. Basically, Cosmix is like letting the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine go Super Saiyan. On the other hand, its food selection seems less thought out. Or, let me correct that, thought out just enough to rip off the menu from Starbucks. Have you ever bought a mediocre Starbucks breakfast sandwich?
Yes.
Good news, you can now buy a mediocre breakfast sandwich at Cosmic. Prefer a Starbucks pastry? Try the Cosmic McPops or the brownies.
I prefer the McDonald's breakfast over Starbucks, except for pastries.
Or the cookies. And these point directly to the competitor that Cosmix most wants to take a bite out of, Starbucks. McDonald's president Chris Kempczinski has publicly stated that the fast beverage space is one McDonald's has the right to win, whatever that means. So this year is gearing up to be a real showdown. And by showdown, I mean we're about to see two mega corporate entities that no one's really rooting for duke it out for their right to hawk us a bunch of pink drinks filled with caffeine. Doesn't that sound exciting? But how big are the stakes here? Like, what do they win besides prime real
I prefer Dunkin' Donuts over them both.
in airport terminals? Well, it turns out beverages are one grande market, my friends. According to McDonald's calculations, the fast beverage space is a category that's growing faster than all other sectors of casual dining, and it's worth roughly $100 billion a year. This is because syrupy, caffeinated drinks have high demand and even higher margin. A study by NYU Stern School of Business estimates that these soft drinks have around 53% gross margins. That means that for every dollar that McDonald's spends on ingredients for a soda, they're making $1.53 back in revenue. Coffee and tea items can be even higher, with analysts estimating that efficiently priced coffee margins can go as high as 70 or even 85%. And McDonald's sees that golden coffee money right at their fingertips. After all, they're no stranger to the coffee game. They're consistently one of the top-selling brands, with their McCafés pulling in an estimated $1 million a day in U.S. coffee sales. Outside the U.S., McCafé is an even bigger deal, where it has standalone buildings just like Starbucks, including about 3,000 standalone locations in Europe alone. So why then start a whole new franchise with Cosmic? You already have a coffee shop. Well, to understand why McDonald's can't do this in the US, we have to learn a little bit about marketing strategy. In marketing, you have brands, right? A name, a logo, some adjectives that come to mind when you think of them. Well, when a brand gets very big, like McDonald's, sometimes you want to create something new, but you don't want to risk hurting what you already got going. You don't want to ruin one big brand with one small experiment. So what do? You create a sub-brand. Sub-branding is when a well-known business creates a secondary brand with a different voice and identity in order to target a specific niche or a new target demographic without diluting the parent brand. Hotels, great examples of this. Take Wyndham Hotels, for instance. Wyndham is a nice hotel brand. They're often associated with very nice amenities, great locations, some high-end resorts like the Wyndham Grand, but Wyndham also owns the brand La Quinta, which is a mid-level hotel for people just passing through for a night stopover, who need some amenities but not all the bells and whistles. Wyndham also owns Super 8 and Travelodge, which are considered to be economy hotels with almost no frills or special amenities. I say Wyndham, you think, hey, that's a really nice hotel brand. Even though they own much lower end properties, their main brand is never diluted. Sub-brands get to benefit from the parent brand's reputation, like, oh, Super 8's owned by Wyndham? That's a nice brand. And they can also use that to get themselves a leg up. They're basically the branding equivalent of Nepo babies. But okay, if Cosmic and McCafé are both McDonald's sub-brands, why pick one over the other? Well, taking a closer look showed me that they're not as similar as I originally thought. McCafé and Cosmic each focus on a specific niche, but not the same one. Both Cosmix and McCafé are targeting the coffee niche, but on different ends. The McCafé and its breakfast menu was introduced to the United States in 2001 as a means of targeting the morning rush, giving McDonald's a reason to open earlier and hit all three major meals of the day. Cosmix, on the other hand, is being touted as McDonald's answer to the 3 p.m. slump, aka right around the time I reach for a refill of Diet Coke every day. Snack.
MattPat, I know this might be like the last chance to say it. You need to pull back on the Diet Coke.
And caffeine is a way many of us combat hitting a wall in the afternoon. So McDonald's has identified us as a market it can capitalize on. With teens rushing out of school and exhausted adults looking for a fix to help them push through the end of the workday, McDonald's hopes that Cosmix can secure the corner on that afternoon snacking market. But couldn't McCafe also serve the same market? It's not like other cafes struggle at 3 p.m. Starbucks doesn't need to become midday bucks just to sell lattes in the afternoon. Well, at first, that's what McDonald's thought too. These were likely supposed to be the same restaurant. Early last year, blogs were sharing leaks about McDonald's plan to build standalone McCafe spin-offs called McCafe Corners. When you look at the leaks, it becomes McDonald's decided to pivot, rebranding McCafe Corners as Cosmix. Not only do both concepts share design plans down to serving midday pick-me-ups, but the leaked assets use some of the same art as the official Cosmix website. This is likely why a majority of the few food options that Cosmix serves come directly from the McCafe breakfast menu. So why make such a big change? Why not just stick with the plan to keep those restaurants the same? Well, it looks like someone at Old McDo HQ might have realized that people don't really like McCafe in the US. And for good reason, too. Well, I mentioned that McCafes are big in Europe. McDonald's has struggled to get the brand traction in Ronald's homeland. Sure, they do okay as attachments to burger joints, but they're not seeing standalone McCafes rival Starbucks like they do overseas. Being attached to McDonald's, sure, it might earn you some money, but if you look at the customer and employee reports, it's actively diluting both brands. Looking at samples of McDonald's message boards, you'll find that a common struggle cited by McDonald's employees is the massive size of the menu that they have to serve when they're trying to juggle both a McCafe and a full McDonald's restaurant. Every time McDonald's corporate adds another promotional item to the menu, that's another process that the kitchen's suddenly responsible for incorporating into the workflow. Sometimes it means there's another machine to clean, sometimes it's another item to keep fresh. And when you're trying to do more things at once, you just start naturally cutting corners. This isn't the employee's fault per se, it's just an unmanageable menu for a restaurant that's supposed to produce a ton of food really fast. And it turns out when something had to take a hit, it was the less popular McCafe items that saw the biggest dip in quality, actually leading to McDonald's discontinuing a handful of their bakery items. So when it comes to really making a play at the coffee space, just tacking a ton of extra menu items onto a pre-existing McDonald's, it'll work, and it hasn't worked for McCafe, which continues to lose traction to Starbucks. So what should they do instead? The answer is split the brand in half. Shed the reputation that McCafe has in the US, which is that it produces mediocre pastries and a limited menu, and start the whole thing over again. So, okay, they're gonna try to make this Cosmix thing work. Now, in order to make this big beverage venture a success, really coming out of the gate swinging with something that feels new and unexpected, McDonald's chose to partner this launch with a major new mascot, Cosmic. Oh yeah, there he is again. Ronald McDonald might be retired and discarded into the wind, but you know who isn't? Cosmic, a McDonaldland mascot from the 80s who is, and I quote, part alien, part robot, and part surfer. Yeah, really. He originally appeared in the 80s in the McDonald's universe, the Mickoverse, I suppose, where Ronald McDonald was like an active citizen of McDonaldland, which is, in fact, a canonical place, another theory that we've done in the past. In McDonaldland, Ronald hangs out with the mayor, who is notably not Ronald, despite this being McDonaldland. Instead, the mayor is a literal cheeseburger with legs. Ronald also rubs elbows with the McDonaldland chief of police, Hamburger again, and someone who's only known as the Mad Professor, who has a real head but uses everyone else for his personal science experiments. Maybe that's how the mayor ended up like that, but probably a theory for another day. Put that one on the list for you, Santi. Oh, and of course, the viral milkshake sensation himself, Grimace. Although he...
Oh, that's not going to be a MattPat theory. Santi is the one who's taken over food theory. Oh well, Santi, I want to see that.
He's not celebrating his birthday yet with any sort of deadly concoction. Cosmic appears in McDonaldland while Ronald and his friends are on a picnic, during which Cosmic tries to con them out of their cheeseburgers. After he fails, he concedes to sharing the burgers and then flies back to his home planet, never to be seen again, Poochie style.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Oh wait, there's a new addition to the canon. It turns out that according to newly revealed...
What did that note say? Oh, wait a minute. Come on. I want to know what that note said. I know it's from the show. I thought that's what it said the second time I saw it. Poochie died on the way back to his home planet. So it's got to be at, I got to resume this at 9:40, so 3, 2, 1.
lore, Cosmic was off-planet experimenting with a stolen McDonald's menu and serving it to the inhabitants of Cosmic Land this entire time. Yes! This is the story that they've really concocted for this thing. According to his backstory from the McDonald's website, Cosmic has been, quote, experimenting with menu items alongside unique beverages, ones that would not only complement the food, but stand alone as the perfect mood boost for all beings. As the curious creature began slinging these beverages to fellow aliens, it didn't take long before the entire planet wanted more. Fast. There's a lot to unpack in that one. A lot to unsling, if you will. But first, I think the most obvious question here is why? Why bring back a super obscure D-list character out of the woodwork to be a mascot of what's supposed to be a major new chapter in your Mick history? Well, this seems like a pretty bad decision for the head honchos at Mickey D's, and the marketing language sure reads as pretty cringy. This awkward alien is anything but a coincidence. Let me ask you, can you think of any other purple alien-looking McDonald's mascots that have brought in a ton of publicity for the restaurant?
Gee, I don't know. Wasn't there that one Grimace guy, I guess? Yeah.
Recently, anyone who has themselves a penchant for slinging drinks or creating unique beverages, maybe for a celebration, like say
An
a
Among Us
birthday.
guy.
That's right, Grimace has seen some runaway success in the last year, especially on social platforms like TikTok and YouTube where the youngs are hanging out. His unbelievable internet fame from the past year means that with the right shade of purple and a little bit of insanity, McDonald's can get a ton of attention on TikTok and sell 1 million drinks that, let's face it, didn't taste all that great in the first place. I mean, it did kill me that one time. Then I drank it again and I died in the pool. Yeah, Grimace Shake. Yeah, not great. But then, why aren't they just using Grimace himself as the mascot for Cosmic? You already have an internet-famous purple blob. Why don't you
Alright,
just
that's the
roll
first
with
time
it,
I've laughed
right?
out loud
there are
so
a couple
far.
scraps of evidence that point to the idea that this was actually the plan. The hard proof for this is totally lacking, so full disclosure that this is more of a food hunch than a food theory, but I speculate that Grimace, a mascot that's supposed to be the living embodiment of a milkshake, was originally supposed to be the face of this new brand, which again is all about interesting and unique drinks. In hindsight, it is crystal clear that to test the waters of a restaurant like Cosmic, McDonald's released a bizarre limited edition drinkable menu item, aka the Grimace Shake, at the regular old McDonald's to see what the buzz looked like last year. And to McDonald's credit, this experiment 100% worked, and the Grimace Shake took off like a shot. It's no secret that Gen Z...
But did it work for the right reasons? I mean, I'd never seen that video of Matt. Of the reason I laughed so hard, I'd never seen that video of. I knew MattPat did a theory, but I'd never seen that video of him quote unquote dying into the pool. I'm sorry, that's gonna be stuck in my head all night.
Are great at transforming lol random items like a purple milkshake into highly shareable social media content. And they were all over the interwebs with their iconic TikToks tasting that purple drink. And McDonald's knew exactly what they were tapping into here, since they were following on a trend that already existed, where Gen Z just really liked trying weird beverages. A massive 62% of Gen Z tried new exciting beverages in the last month alone, due in part to recent TikTok trends like the viral wild Starbucks flavors or water talk. Grimace's birthday celebration was proof that McDonald's could reel in the TikTok generation with bold, quirky flavors. But here's where it gets weird, because of course this TikTok trend didn't stop at just tasting the Grimace Shake. It instead steered hard into creative death sequences that implied that the Grimace Shake is just fun and quirky. It'll also kill you on the spot. So my food hunch here is that with the viral trend leading so hard into horror, McDonald's corporate became concerned that any beverage associated with Grimace would now follow a similar dark lore, which definitely wouldn't bode well for a whole menu full of quirky drink items at McCafe corners. And so with mere months to go before the launch of their first outpost, McDonald's had to pivot from Grimace to the next best character, Cosmic. Hunches aside, what's clear to me is whether it was supposed to be Grimace or Cosmic, the Grimace Shake trend of 23 absolutely wrote the playbook that Cosmix is following now, and it all revolves around getting Gen Z to do free marketing on social media. That said, if you're a bit too old to be a Zoomer, don't worry. McDonald's isn't leaving you out of their caffeine-fueled expansion efforts. Instead of counting on your love of TikTok, McDonald's is banking on your nostalgia. Nostalgia drives a huge number of the social media conversations of 80s and 90s kids. While the youth market is being brought in primarily from the exotic flavors, the revival of mascots is how McDonald's is inserting itself into listicles and clickbaiting for millennials and Gen Xers on platforms like Facebook and Twitter. And what is...
Just for the record, I agree with everyone. Happy sucked. Bring back Ronald.
this social media attention and nostalgia clickbait supposed to do for McDonald's? Well, McDonald's Corporation has a lofty goal of launching 10,000 new global restaurants by 2027, increasing their total number of fast food locations by 20%. So this is big business for them, and a lot of it has to be driven by word of mouth, or rather, word of algorithm on social media. But it's not the last piece of this puzzle. The last interesting twist of the story isn't about Cosmix bringing in a bunch of tweens with pink drinks, it's about bringing in a whole new model for the restaurant, automation. You see, Cosmix isn't just a testing ground for new drink flavors or an expansion of McDonald's real estate empire. It's the beginning of the restaurant's partnership with AI. McDonald's just struck a deal with Alphabet to integrate Google AI into their restaurants, joining the ranks of 300 other fast food restaurants who are using AI in their drive-thrus as of August 2023. These partnerships allow customers to have a conversation with an AI voice at a drive-thru instead with a person, with the computer translating their order and sending it to be made. It's expensive to retrofit an existing restaurant with upgraded tech, but it's less expensive if you're building a brand new restaurant, like, say, a Cosmix. And it turns out that the benefits here are big. What does it mean to have AI and automation in your restaurant? Well, you've probably already...
I question that. Because, like, my gaming computer over here, I didn't pay $3,000 for a new gaming computer. I bought parts for a couple $100. And granted, I did have to pay like $1,000 at one time for the motherboard, but it was still cheaper to just get a new motherboard than a whole new case. It's still pretty much everything in my computer is replaced. I just shot myself. Really, the motherboard is the computer, so the fact that I've replaced the computer's motherboard entirely because none of the new equipment that I wanted would work on it, I actually just proved MattPat's point because only the physical case is the same. The motherboard that actually holds all the parts is new. I literally couldn't upgrade anything until I swapped that and the CPU. So I shot myself a bit there. No, he's right. He's right.
Seen some of it, with McDonald's menus moving to a self-service kiosk when you tap menu items that you want. Then you tap a credit card and you wait for your order. You no longer have to give it to a person at a register. These systems allow restaurants to focus workers on the actual food making, maintaining smaller stores, and interestingly enough, it also gets you to spend more. On average, patrons spend 10 to 30% more on digital transactions where they have to enter their order at a kiosk because they have more time to explore the menu. That menu is full of pictures. It also suggests items that you might like to add to your order.
We're coming towards the end of it, so I'm just going to stop a couple more times. That's true. I remember using one of those kiosks for the first time. A lot of places around here don't have them, but when up in New Hampshire, I used one. And I won't lie, I spent more time on it. Maybe subconsciously, I bought more than I would have if I had talked to someone and was being rushed into the line. Just some thought.
Feeling the pressure of people waiting behind you in line, or the social anxiety of telling someone face-to-face that, yeah, I do want triple pickles on my Big Mac, you instead just enter the order in the privacy of your own kiosk. It's a way to get you to spend more money without any extra marketing or sales.
Panera Bread is another one that does that.
This automation also plays into McDonald's 5-year plan to acquire 100 million additional users to its app-based loyalty program, which currently has 150 million users and $20 billion in yearly earnings. And yes, that means that McDonald's is walking around with the personal information, data, and buying behavior of 150 million people right now, which is pretty concerning when you consider the company's looking to double that by 2027, thereby earning $40 billion over the course of the next 3 years. And just in case people don't really want to accept the restaurant's new technology, or God forbid, they feel nervous about this new era of information, Cosmic will be right there by their side to distract them with a drink that looks like they melted a Barbie. In the end, like their expertly blended drinks, Cosmix is the fusion of McDonald's marketing needs. It's poised to capitalize on both Gen Z's TikTok trends and Millennial and Gen X's soft spot for nostalgia, so that the general public slowly acclimates to the company's AI-fueled expansion. Oh, but the drinks are so cute, though! But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up.
Okay, so I laughed twice during that one. That one was, to me, that one was a more funny theory. Funnier, not more fun. Funny. That one was a funnier theory to me. The one thing I didn't mention was also that I like the idea that would give them more time to focus on cooking if the restaurant's automated. I mean, bring on this. For goodness sake, I can't even remember. Not McCafe. Well, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go back. Cosmics, and of course they still get that. They still got that MC in there. Cosmics. Bring me a Cosmic. I'd probably rather have a Cosmic than Starbucks. I like their pastries. I like their pastries. I like their pastries. I like their pastries. What can I say? But if McDonald's is able to focus on the pastries, yeah, I'd rather go to McDonald's than the super expensive Starbucks. So I never did have a Grimace shake though, unfortunately. Maybe they can bring it back if they bring Cosmics near me. And maybe we can move on to we're not quite halfway done because the last theory is longer. It's not 29 minutes. I have. Where is it? Here. Because on one of my tablet that's queued up next is the. Where is it? Okay, hold on. I know I had it. Oh, the one that's queued up next is this one. You know what? Game theory is his most famous one, so let's save that for last. Let's just go ahead, bite the bullet, and do the long one now. I was planning on doing it last, which is the one that's queued up and ready to go. And game theorist, that's like his. These are actually the ones from yesterday. The BLUEY one was 8 hours ago. Well, 8 hours ago, it's probably 9 hours now. The food theory was 6 hours ago. So those were the two from today. And these are the two from yesterday that I would have watched yesterday, but I wanted to do a live reaction. So let's start with the style theory because in the case of the style theories, he's really been on screen a lot more, which is unfortunate because with MattPat leaving, means we won't see him as much. But he was really, I mean, he's involved in all these, but to actually get to see him on screen, I liked seeing him on screen a lot in the style theories. And that's honestly, that's part of the reason I started watching GT Live a lot. That was back in 2020, where in 2020 I actually watched him every single day doing Security Breach. And I didn't watch him for Ruin. I watched someone else for Ruin. But I did watch Wanted to. We are going to this one. Yeah, we're going to this one. Put this back at 0. That one's going to be ready. And
Speaking of episodes, if you missed it, I made a big announcement over on Game Theory this week that you should go watch and check out if
it's not a 0.
Take a look at your hands. You ever wondered what it'd be like to wear 10 layers of nail polish? 100?
No.
What about 1,000? Well, you don't have to wonder anymore because I did it. I wore 1,000 layers of nail.
The thing, I was scared he was going to say that. Honestly, the things he do for us, I've never considered this.
Polish for 24 hours, and spoiler alert, it was one of the most frustrating experiences of my
I can
life.
imagine.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Style Theory, the show that nails it every single episode. Speaking of episodes, if you missed it, I made a big announcement over on Game Theory this week that you should go watch and check out after you're finished with this episode. It is a doozy, and it's very important for the future of this channel. Trust me, it's going to be a fun ride. I'll even leave a link in the end card to make it easy for you. Good luck not crying during the last 5 minutes, friends. Anyway.
Yeah, because he cries.
Back to the topic at hand, shall we? Nail polish. When it comes to nail polish, I've always been a bit of a newbie, but secretly I've always been jealous about those who get to dip their toes and fingers into the polish game. So in honor of New Year, New Me, there's no better time to crack open a bottle and become the nail-fluencer of my dreams. But of course, because of the special way in which I'm broken, I can't just settle for
You're
painting
about
my
1
nails
second
like a
ahead of
normal
me.
person. I need to go deeper. I need to show another layer of the story. That's when it hit me. You might recall back in 2016 when the channel Simply Nailogical, aka Christine, did a challenge on her channel painting over 100 layers of nail polish, which took her over 12 hours of constant painting. The results were as beautiful as they were terrifying. Now, over the years, Christine has returned to one-up the challenge and pushed the limits of how many layers of nail polish you can realistically wear. She even tried her hands, both literally and figuratively, at a 1,000-layer challenge, but was so horrified by the Freddy Krueger nightmare that she created, she kept the whole thing a secret from her audience for over 6 years. But you know what? If I'm going to take my own journey to Polish Mountain, I'm going to need to find a way to take this and make it even more extreme. I need to do something that not even Christine was able to do before. I need to take this monstrous creation out into the world to see if this trend can hold up to the labors of real life. And I'm going to do it with both hands. That being said, if I'm actually going to be able to do this, I'm going to need some help. So I asked 2 members of Team Theorist, Josiah and Rachel, to give me a hand. Or rather, I gave them each of my hands. Their job? Get paid to spend the day painting my nails until we reached 1,000 layers of polish. Then I'll rock my new mani as I go about my normal day. I'll take meetings, I'll eat, I'll use the facilities, and to just add a little bit to the drama, we're gonna make it a competition. Josiah?
Okay. Long fingernails when using the restroom. Yeah, I just cut mine. They are really hard in the bathroom.
Versus Rachel. Analytics versus HR. We're going to be grading their work based on 3 criteria: beauty, livability, and durability. And at the end of the day, we're going to be crowning one of them Theorist's king or queen of Polish Mountain. Place your bets now, loyal Theorists, because as the team settled in for the long days of painting, I immediately realized that I might have made a mistake in my choice of nail technicians.
I was gonna say, Josiah, how did you get roped into this?
Everybody was coming to me like, oh, Josiah, I hear you can paint some nails. And of course, I was like, yeah, I can do that for sure.
Who started a rumor that you could paint nails?
I don't know.
I mean, your fingers are very nice and manicured.
Well, thank you. I take pride in that.
How many layers of nail polish have you done in the past?
Under 2.
Under 2. All right, well, get ready because we got
Total?
999 more to go. How about you,
Under
Rachel?
2
What's
total?
your nail polish experience?
I have done more than 2.
Okay.
Layers. I'm a nail biter, so
Yeah.
I always got fake nails.
Fantastic. So on one hand, I have someone who only uses fake nails, and on the other hand, I have Josiah, who lied his way into the salon chair. Already, this was turning out to be a lot more of a challenge than I anticipated. But with my questionable draft picks aside, it was time to get to painting. Lucky for me, the shoot day actually lined up with the longest meeting of the week, a FNAF catch-up with everyone's favorite Brit, Game Theory creative director Tom.
Welcome to the morning meeting. Though I do want to let you know that I'm joined on this call today with Rachel and Josiah. They're going to be painting my nails.
Despite the initial surprise, Tom was a really good sport about the 2 meeting crashers, and we finally got to the good stuff, the painting. Right off the bat, it became clear that our 2 competitors were going to be moving at 2 very different paces. You see, Josiah, he's a very meticulous kind of guy. He focuses on all those little details, which let me tell you, is a great trait to have for someone who manages our analytics. But when it comes to painting nails, thoroughness is going to come at the cost of speed. Meanwhile, Rachel, she's a speed demon. Her normal job around the office requires her to focus on efficiency over artistry. She can't be spending all day writing a soliloquy for one email when she might have hundreds more piling up in her inbox. So from the word go, Rachel took off at a lightning pace. I watched in real time as Josiah was left in the dust. Finishing his first perfectly painted nail as Rachel sped past it.
I love that Rachel's already on nail 3 and Josiah just finished.
He's trying so hard.
But never one to back down from a challenge, Josiah had some wise words to share with the class.
Have you guys ever heard the story of the tortoise and the hare?
No, tell me how it goes, Josiah.
And tell us he did, in long, excruciating detail.
There is a tortoise. He's the slow guy.
Yeah, that does tend to go with the territory, yeah.
And then there's the hare. He's fast. The tortoise just takes his time.
Yeah.
He focuses on all the little steps, and he gets to the finish line before the hare.
I'll spare you the rest. But the analogy fits our challengers pretty darn well. We have the tortoise Josiah, slowly and carefully making sure each layer of polish is perfect, and then we have Rachel the hare, moving at full speed to reach the 1,000-layer goal quickly. I guess we're gonna have...
I would be somewhere in the middle.
Wait until the end of the episode when we tally up the scores to find out which method proves to be the best. But in the meantime, let me know down in the comments, are you Team Tortoise or Team Hare? Go Josiah!
You know, I wasn't gonna say it earlier because I really don't know. You know what? I'm gonna stay in the middle. I'm gonna stay in the middle. I'm not either of their teams. I'm just curious how this turns out. And the fact that they go two different speeds means we'll get two different results. So I'm team both, I guess it would be.
Or rah Rachel. So with our literature lesson out of the way, I was finally able to get to the task at hand, solving the lore of Glamrock Bonnie, while being glammed up myself. Except there may have been one other small, tiny detail that I might have underestimated. Time. In the original challenge, Christine was able to get to 100 layers as fast as possible. She didn't need to worry about building a solid structure that would last all day, meaning she wasn't sitting around waiting for the polish to fully dry in between coats. And even then, it still took her over 8 hours to get through 100 layers. Based on the clips from her unreleased video, her attempts at 1,000 layers looked like they took her days. Note to self, my confidence might have been a little bit over-eager in the initial time estimate. So if I'm planning on wearing these babies out, I need to make sure that the nails are structurally sound in order to get through our entire day of testing. That means waiting the full dry time in between each coat of polish. How long's that, you might ask? Well, for our experiment, we ended up using Sally Henson's Insta Dry Polish, because according to the packaging, it only takes about 60 seconds to fully dry. On average, our Hare Rachel, she was able to paint a layer of polish on each of the 5 fingers in 30 seconds, making her full paint and dry time for one layer a minute and a half. On its own, that's a really fast process, but once you start multiplying that by the goal of 1,000 layers, suddenly we're talking about 25 hours of solid painting. No pausing for eating, sleeping, or using the bathroom. And that's just talking about our fast competitor. We'd all be dead in our graves by the time Tortoise and Josiah got even halfway up his mountain. This was turning out to be a disaster, so we were left with 2 options. Either call it quits on the episode or come up with a new solution. And we here at Team Theorist, we never know when to quit. So we decided to divide and conquer. Josiah and Rachel each had a week to find a new way to make the episode possible. Me, I was busy trying to figure out the answer to the question that caused all this trouble in the first place. Why does it take so long for nail polish to dry? Now I realize that I just assumed I knew how nail polish worked, at least at the base coat level. Paint goes on the nail, paint dries, apply more paint. But boy, oh boy, was I wrong. Broadly speaking, your typical nail polish contains 7 different kinds of ingredients. There's a resin that's made to ensure that your polish sticks to your nail bed. Then there are the pigments, which mix together to give the nail polish its unique color. But the main ingredient is actually a film-forming polymer usually made of nitrocellulose. These sorts of polymers are long chains of smaller molecules that combine to form films that you see sitting on top of your nails. It starts out in that liquid-like state, but as your nail polish dries, that soft polymer chain hardens to form a solid film on top of the nail. Speaking of drying though, that still doesn't explain the big question of why it takes nails so long to dry. It actually comes down to one key ingredient, the solvent. If you've seen our episode on the spray-on dress, you probably already know what a solvent does. The solvent, like ethyl or butyl acetate, is a liquid that all of the other ingredients are suspended in until you brush the paint onto your nails. Once applied, the solvent evaporates, leaving behind that solid, beautiful polish. And it's that evaporation we're waiting on when the nails are drying. It's also responsible for that trademark nail polish smell. Side note, after this episode, I would be glad to never have to smell nail polish ever again. But while nail polish might smell terrible, you know what's going to make your day smell a whole lot better? The sponsor for today's episode, Scentbird. Here's a little peek behind the scenes for you.
Wait a minute. Did we not have sponsors in the other 2 video? Huh. I don't think we had sponsors in the other 2 videos. I'm going to be skipping over the sponsor though.
With the confidence of a Greek god. But not only are you getting to test out a whole lot of great scents at a cheap...
Looks like it's going to be 10:15 is when we're going to resume. Long sponsor. Let me find out where.
At a cheap price, Scentbird is now the simplest layer size by painting each wide host of drying hacks, ranging from the helpful to
Start here.
Again to Scentbird for sponsoring this episode, and now back to my office that reeks of nail polish. Which brings us back to the problem at hand, and on my hand, dry time. If you look online for advice about how to speed up the nail drying process, you'll find a wide host of drying hacks, ranging from the helpful to the downright wacky. Really, going through each of these could be an episode all its own, but it turns out that the fastest way to dry your nail polish is actually the simplest, layer size. By painting each layer as thinly as possible, you maximize the solvent's ability to evaporate. Putting polish on thick with extra C's prevents the solvent deep within the giant glob of nail polish from being able to escape and dry the nail. But did our tortoise and hare end up being able to figure that one out? It's been a week since I sent them scurrying off to save the episode, so let's see what solutions they found.
We are back 1 week later. What did you guys come up with?
Wow. Are you ready for this?
Elbow length glove.
Hold up. So you're saying that the solution to the problem was flesh gloves?
Yeah.
Yep, flesh gloves. They actually got their inspiration from none other than the OG herself, Christine. As you can see in the clips of her lost video, Christine decided to paint on Edward, her trusty mannequin hand, in order to paint over the course of several days. Genius! But for our purposes, we couldn't be wearing a mannequin hand. So Josiah and Rachel found the next best thing: uncomfortably realistic latex gloves molded to look like human hands. Ugh, these things look like they're ripped straight out of Silence of the Lambs. Happy birthday to me, I guess. Oh, did I mention the fact that all of this, me donning these nightmare gloves for the sake of your entertainment, was happening on my birthday? Yeehaw! That's a memorable one. Anyway, all they had to do was glue some of Rachel's
Happy birthday, MattPat.
fake acrylic nails onto these guys, and boom! A portable nail painting setup worthy of 1,000 layers of polish. We didn't get 1,000 layers, did we?
We did our best.
You did do all 5 fingers.
Yeah.
The whole hands?
Yes.
Yeah.
200 layers plus a layer of super glue.
That's what Josiah got, actually. I got to 157 and a layer of super glue.
Well, would you look at that? Turns out Aesop's fable repeats itself again. Our resident tortoise was able to do more layers of nail polish.
What? Really? Good thing I didn't. Dude, good thing I didn't pick a side.
Josiah. In total, across both hands, I was wearing a little over 1,000 layers, so the letter of the challenge had been met, but the spirit of the challenge, not so much. That said, Josiah and Rachel did paint a full set of hands each, meaning that, well, we could only wear 2 hands at a time. We did technically reach 2,000 layers in total across all the hands. That right there, that deserves a big old round of applause. Ugh, that is...
I guess he's technically right. I knew they weren't gonna get to 1,000 layers. I had a feeling, but what do you think? 200 layers on one finger, that's 1,000 right there, and 157 on the other one. That would be 150 times 5. 750 plus another 75. Basically be 800, so he's looking at about 1,800, give or take. More than 1,000.
Disturbing in all the worst nightmare fuel stored ways. Speaking of those nightmare hands, let's reveal what we got.
Who should go first?
So disturbing for so many reasons.
I need this in the...
For the record, we're not even halfway done with this theory.
most loving way possible. Rachel, when did you know things were going wrong?
Not soon as you'd think.
There was still hope for a while.
Yeah.
They're a lot more
They're squishy.
yeah, bendable and flexible than I expected.
Nail polish, you've dumbfounded me yet again. Because there is actually a good reason for the nails to feel squishy. You see, as we mentioned earlier, once the solvent dries, what's left on your nail is that solid polymer film that's incredibly brittle. In order to prevent that nail from chipping immediately, polish manufacturers add ingredients collectively known as plasticizers. Their job is to make the nail more flexible, so it can withstand the regular wear and tear of daily life. Now, of course, when you add over 100 layers of polish to your fingernails, all those plasticizers are going to end up making your nail feel like a giant wad of paint. And you don't have to take my word for it either. You can see it for yourself the next time you put on nail polish. Wait a couple days, feel the squish yourself. But that wasn't the only thing that held up Rachel's nails.
So I had a little tiny fan. I had it blowing on, and so most times with the fan, once I would do all 5, it would be dry enough where I could kind of just go.
Did you catch her 2 big mistakes? In our resident hair's desire to speedrun this process, she didn't give the recommended 60 seconds for the nails to dry. She also used a fan, which I'm sure felt like it was speeding things up, but unfortunately it likely made her polished mountain less stable. The air would firm the topmost layer of the current coat, and Rachel, feeling that top layer to see if the coat was dry, would think that it was safe to move on, when in reality, the inner part of the coat was still wet. But that's only one of our challengers. Let's compare Rachel's creation with hand number 2, made by the tortoise himself, Josiah.
Tortoise, what do you have to show for yourself? Oh my god, that's great! Actually, no offense, you did an amazing job.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
You can see the beautiful
Okay, that meme's a little old there.
layers of the nails.
Josiah's solid layers came from using 1 bottle of polish at a time, while Rachel's more Jackson Pollock look came from rotating colors every single coat.
How long did each layer take you?
As we saw last week, I was a lot slow.
Yeah, Josiah didn't have any secret trick up his sleeve. He just took his time, like any good tortoise should. And in terms of nail drying, this was proof that the true key to drying is patience. But I have to commend both of our contestants for being good sports about the whole thing. And now finally we get to the best part, the part where I get to strap on these gloves and put these puppies to the test. After several failed attempts to get these weird fleshy gloves on, it was time to see what the office had to say. As I mentioned at the top of this episode, we're going to be deciding the ultimate winner for this Clash of the Nails by judging the tortoise and the hare across 3 separate categories: beauty, livability, and durability. Since the last 2 categories will kind of reveal themselves as the day goes on, let's just start with beauty. Well, my first reactions were not the most flattering to one set of nails. That's just my opinion. I decided to take a tour around the office to ask everyone what they thought of the aesthetic of both sets of nails, and then rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being beautiful, 1 being nightmare fuel.
Please tell me no one gave it a 5. This is the part where we get to see Matt, a lot of Matt. Second half of the video.
Let's just start off with our resident Michigan grandpa, Sam. He's the perfect person to ask for an unbiased opinion because he has no filter.
I'm looking for your opinion here.
This scale doesn't need to go up to 5. This person tried. I would say this.
Told ya. I would maybe do the scale to 3.
The 2, and that's a 1.
See what I mean? If you ever need someone to tell you like it truly is, get yourself a Sam. So that's an early lead for Team Tortoise and Josiah, but now it's time to move over to Style Theory creative director Amy, who is working behind the scenes to help set up this entire episode. Here's her first reaction to seeing the nails in the flesh, or I suppose the latex.
Hey, Amy, I know you had a hand to play in this.
Oh,
What do you think?
I think I might have found my new sleep paralysis demon. Honestly, I have to give at least a 1.
What is the lowest?
I actually hate that.
Amy was so confused by Rachel's handiwork that she could barely articulate the rating of 1. What did you think of Josiah, though?
If Salvador Dali was a nail artist, this is what they would be. I give it a solid 3.
Shocking. Salvador Dali beats sleep paralysis demon. Score 1 for the melting clocks. But of all the opinions around the office, none matters more to me than the opinion of my loved one, my partner in crime, Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie. So, Stephanie, you might have noticed that I've done something a little bit different.
I've done something. Wow, this is new year, new you.
We're getting on the New Year, New You trend a little bit early.
Okay, well, I meant like it's your birthday today. Is that canon to whatever we're shooting?
That is canon, actually. We are filming this literally on my birthday. These are my birthday nails, actually. So I'm going around the office.
Happy birthday again. Your birthday gift are some nails, apparently.
And asking people to rate my nails on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being, wow, they're so beautiful, I want them for myself.
Wait, 5 isn't nailed it? I don't feel like 1 to 5 really encapsulates.
You know what? I should respect myself. Steph, that was actually one of the good ones. I know MattPat always has these like corny jokes and they don't usually get that, but nailed it. Actually, one of the better ones. One of the better puns.
It's the feelings of these nails. Like there should be some other scale from the deeply negative numbers to almost break even. If I have to give like an actual numerical score, I would give these like a 0.5. And then these, I think they are more believable in like a high fashion setting. I would give them a 3.5.
3.5. Wow. Checking in on our scores for this round, it's clear that Team Tortoise walks away with a big W. In other words, Josiah moves ahead in the race to conquer Polished Mountain with a total score of 2-zip. But every story has itself a silver lining. While most of the office did have a negative reaction to my nails, there was one member of the team who seemed to really like them. Good old Skip. But there's no time for messing around here, Skip. We got 2 more categories to judge. Next up, livability. I'm gonna go about my normal day to see how much these nails are hampering my ability to function as a normal human being. First up, using my phone.
My phone. Access my phone. It feels like I'm tapping 3 different sections of my phone at one time, but my phone's smart enough to recognize that, so that's good. But you can see here that my thumbs are being blocked. Wow. Nope. That was supposed to be W. Wow. Nope. Wow, Sam. Maybe autocorrect was built for people with really long nails. Will. Nope.
5 minutes later.
Play this soon. That's with autocorrect and everything. Nails, when it comes to typing on a phone, not solid. But also, I don't think that's impacted by the 1,000 layers of nail polish, right? I think that's just like a byproduct of having long nails.
Also, if you're wondering if typing my emails up on my computer was any easier, yeah. No.
Come on!
After spending an unholy amount of time trying to type one single sentence, I needed to take a break at the facilities. And I'm not really sure who this one was more awkward for. Me or the film crew made up of our employees waiting on the other side of the door.
I'll say that it poked in places that I didn't expect it to poke, and I was very concerned about the hefty size of the nails. Scooping up some toilet water as I was going in for the old wipe. That's TMI, but it's true. Welcome to the channel.
I don't think I need to say this out loud, but let's just say that I very much appreciated the smoothness of Rachel's nails over the...
I hope whoever takes over is as, let's say, thorough as MattPat.
Happiness of Josiah's. It's like I was trying to use a full-on Freddy Krueger claw in there. I did manage to wash my hands without too much difficulty. Thankfully, though, in preparation for my next task. A task which you might recognize if you happen to be a regular viewer on the channel. The filming of this episode actually overlapped with the shoot that we were doing for our best toothbrush episode. Go check them out if you haven't already, because it is going to be incredibly useful in your day-to-day life. Anyway, it meant that I got to brush my teeth using these ridiculous talons. Though, much like wash my hands, it wasn't that bad. Until, of course, I had to check my results.
Excuse me, I reach into my mouth. It's reaching so far back into my throat. This is terrifying. Can't see the results.
I think he might have actually mentioned in the toothbrush video that I have seen it. I do believe he mentioned that the nails were for an upcoming video. Shows you how far ahead he has planned.
Can't see my results. I might have to ask someone else to reach their hands into my mouth so I can see my results.
Go figure, no one on the crew volunteered to help their dear old boss examine his face hole. Just can't find good help these days. But just to add insult to the awkward of this day, I had a doctor's appointment, and all of a sudden I had to explain why I was wearing 1,000 layers of nail polish on awkward flesh-toned skin gloves.
I hope your doctor knows who you are. If they do, well, maybe they wouldn't understand, but they would understand. I don't know the right word is.
Gotta say, first off, driving itself is not hard in this part, but the fact that my car has these buttons instead of like a traditional shifter, that has made it significantly harder, because I can't just like push drive or push reverse. I have to like knuckle it. Like, oh, knuckle it there, so now I'm in reverse. But overall, this is not making it hard to drive. I'm wondering if someone who's more used to wearing kind of like long nails, acrylics, or like, you know, fake nails, they're going to be a lot more familiar with how to navigate using these nails than I am, right? That being said, I also see my abilities getting better, defaulting more to like finger pad and like knuckles rather than my fingertips. Hardest part so far is taking on and putting off a jacket. And what I'm noticing is my nails got caught. So I lost a nail on my left hand, and this guy over here is definitely on his last legs. We'll see how many are left standing by the end of the day. So wish me luck.
Before I wish him luck, I have been going for a long time, and we are recording a video, so... Okay, how much battery do I have left in this thing? I want to make sure I don't have to plug it in. No, we're good. We're still at 41% of my battery, so we can finish this off.
Back at the office. Oh, I can't turn off the video. Oh. No, it won't turn off.
I gotta tell you, having these nails on all day was surprisingly exhausting. Not only was I bouncing around doing stuff all day, but my brain was working overtime, having to constantly think about the position of my fingers and think of creative new ways to accomplish what's normally a very easy automatic task, like using my car or using my phone. It was draining. It started to dawn on me that people who wear acrylic nails have to deal with this stuff every day. Obviously not the height issues that I was experiencing, but just the functionality issues. Why? Why would you do that? It's annoying. It just makes life so much harder. And so with my head now full of questions, it was time to go enjoy some food with someone who I thought might have all the answers. Steph.
For someone that has experience wearing some level of nail, how
Poor
much more
Steph.
difficult is this versus normal nails? The difficulty is more just I have big nails now as opposed to I have thick nails.
Yeah, so there's a reason why I don't have long nails regularly. A lot of our team doesn't have long nails. Anytime you have to use your hands a lot, nails are gonna cause issues. And growing up, like I never had long nails because you can't play the piano, you can't play musical instruments, you can't like work outside, you can't do anything. Yeah. I think the problems that you're having, all of the problems opening the soda apply no matter how thick or not thick your nails are. I think you're just,
He can't open his Diet Coke.
experiencing life on the other side. Those who have to maintain beautiful long nails all the time. The struggles that they go through.
Right? This is tough.
Not an easy life.
This was without a doubt my biggest takeaway that I had coming out of this entire challenge. Not the 1,000 layers of nail polish part, just realizing how difficult it is to maintain a long-nailed lifestyle. Look at what I had to do today. I typed some emails, I ate some burgers, I drove to the doctors. None of it's particularly hard, but I still managed to lose 2 nails in the process. Now imagine that I had to do something that was actually physically demanding, like gardening or mowing the lawn or doing a lot of childcare. Why would anyone choose to put on nails this long if it meant you couldn't accomplish basic physical tasks? Well, that right there, it's actually the whole point. Long nails weren't meant to be practical, they were meant to be a status symbol. Back in ancient China, fingernails held a huge significance in the culture, especially among the upper class. Not only were they the first recorded inventors of nail polish, but long nails held such value in their society that they created elaborate nail guards, often made of precious metals and adorned with gems to help keep their long nails from breaking. Both men and women can be seen sporting the long-nailed look, but why? Well, long nails meant that you were wealthy, that you didn't need to do manual labor. It signified that you weren't of the common folk. Over the years, as resources became more readily available and more people had access to things like fake nails, this trend took to the masses, but never lost that luxurious association. But you know what? All this talk of labor reminded me that my workday wasn't done yet. We still had to crown a king or queen of Polish Mountain. And Steph had a little surprise plan for our epic finale.
Anyway, lunch is over. It's time to move on to your surprise. Ready, guys? Come on in.
Hi,
Yeah, it's your birthday.
We're all partying.
And despite all the work, nail polish fumes, and lighthearted jives that I subjected Josiah and Rachel to all day, they were still kind enough to get me some really thoughtful gifts for my birthday. Though considering I hadn't declared a winner yet, they might have actually just been bribes.
Josiah looks like he's constantly posing for a thumbnail right now.
It might have been.
And let's all do the Josiah thumbnail face.
You won't believe what's inside.
Also, opening birthday cards, turns out it's super easy when you have a giant letter opener strapped down to the top of your finger. Rachel, as HR manager, made sure that all the employees got in on the birthday festivities.
Oh, happy birthday from all our loyal employees.
They're like, we swear allegiance, we promise.
All the disloyal employees have been jettisoned off the ship. Yeah! Woo! YouTube's #1 boy.
But someone was a little antsy to shove the sentiment aside and get the show on the road.
Not related at all. But there were some final rankings we had to do with the nails.
Who won? Okay, well, I think when it comes to aesthetics, it was a close race, but I did take a survey of everyone in the office, and I do say that this hand eked out the win on that one. Just by a little bit, though. It was by, fractional points. Yours will live on.
You do know he's going to see this video and see how far ahead he was, right?
As a winner in the hearts and nightmares of everyone in the company.
I'll take that.
So really, I feel like that's a win.
Yeah, this is what I provide.
Yeah,
For the
point
company
taken.
culture.
Yeah, nightmares. There it is.
When it came down to livability, the tables had turned.
I gotta say, across the board, these were easier to live with.
They like having little club feet on your fingers.
Yeah, these guys a little bit too long, and so they were, when I'm going to the bathroom, they're poking me in some strange places. This guy right here, a little bit shorter, a little bit stubbier. I appreciate that. Whereas these are like the shins of nail art.
That meant Rachel was finally on the board, 1-2. It all came down to the final category, durability. Either Josiah would run away with the win, or Rachel would force him into a stalemate.
Wait a minute, I didn't see which one, but let me guess. Let me guess that Rachel's nails were more durable.
If you look across them, across the whole day, I mean, you'll see that yours have transformed a fair bit. A little bit.
Honestly, I couldn't tell.
Really?
Oh no, wait, he was the one who took the longer time. No, she was. Is she gonna lose this one? No, because he was the tortoise and she was the hare. Yeah. So yeah. I'm correct.
Whereas these guys, they've done pretty well. I gotta say, I lost 2 fingers on this hand. I've only almost lost 1 finger on this hand. So I think, at the end of the day, we've got to give the win to the tortoise.
Tortoise wins again. That's the one I meant to say that I thought would win. The tortoise. I forgot that he was the one who took the slower time. And we only got about 1 more minute, a little over a minute left in this video, and then we got 1 more video after that. 1 more theory.
Glue technicality? But it doesn't even have to do with the painting.
So congratulations to Josiah for winning the most ridiculous competition that we've ever done across this channel.
I don't know about that.
Say lots. All hail Theorist's King of Polish Mountain. Long may he reign. And you know what? This might just be the nail polish fumes talking, but I really did accomplish my goal of better understanding the world of nail polish. I started this journey wanting to attempt a fun challenge and find out if nail polish was really for me. And sure, we took it to some ridiculous extremes, but I think I will try more normal nail polish in the future. Oh, and no offense to Rachel and Josiah, but they should probably stick to their day jobs and leave their dreams of becoming nail artists to the professionals.
Here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, the true loser across the board is me. It's me, because I spent my birthday walking around looking like this. And I had to record myself in the bathroom. Honestly, the loser's Ash, who had to listen to the audio coming out of the bathroom as I was doing that. But second to Ash, it was me. But while I'm also a loser, I'm also a winner, because I had you guys to share this journey with.
I was going to say that.
So, I might be the loser, but I'm also the proudest winner of them all. At the end of the day, the gift that truly keeps on giving is a slate of loyal employees, and not silicone hands covered in nail art. But remember, that's just a theory. A style theory! Keep looking sharp. Don't forget to...
Okay, 3 down, 1 to go, and that was the longest one. That was the longest theory. Which just leaves. I honestly don't have that much to say about that one because I know stuff. There was a news one. It was obviously one of the weird ones that they do, but weird ones are sometimes the most entertaining. I just refresh this. It's time to go to the bread and butter of MattPat's theories. It's an 18-minute video. Probably stop it. So I'd say my video's probably got another 20 something minutes in it. So reacting to the 9th to last game theory. And what are we going? Welcome to your nightmare garden of Ban. Is it Ban or Bon Bon? He'll say it, I'm sure. Make sure that I don't make the mistake of it's 10 seconds in. YouTube, it's in a minute. Okay, interesting. Fun one. This is one of the ones where I don't know that much about it. So this is going to be another case where it's informative because it's something I don't know anything about. As was the last thing. The first 2 I knew enough about it. I knew enough about BLUEY. I knew enough about McDonald's. Although McDonald's told me a lot of new stuff. That one I knew nothing about it, so that one was more just me watching for fun. But when it comes to game theory, I mean, he got me hooked on FNAF, what can I say? So, gonna try to. This is chapter 6 of Garden of Bonbon, so this is one that's been going on for a while. And maybe I just don't remember his past theories if I've watched them. But I will remember if I get this started.
Yep, friends, you're not seeing things. The first video I'm doing as my final round of host on this channel is on Garden of Effin' Banban. What sort of darkest timeline are we operating off of here? No, stop it. If I have 9 theories left before I hand things over to Tom, we are bringing back the classic intro.
So Tom is the one who's going to be taking over game theory in March.
That's the stuff. Hello, it.
I do like it. It's just this whole time I've been putting up with the loud soundbar because I want the phone to be able to hear it. And I didn't stop the video to check on sound. I'll remember just for future soundbar set at 30. So if it does turn out to be too loud, I'll turn it down a couple of notches. Turns out to be too soft, but it shouldn't be too soft. It's at 30. That rock music right there, that got me. All right, last theory of the night. Let's go.
Internet, welcome to Game Theory, where in just a couple of weeks, I'm going to be unburdened of Banban. Sorry, Tom, this one's your problem now.
Yeah, I should have seen this coming.
Though to be fair, Banban is kind of all of our problem. At this point, it's kind of inescapable. It exploded onto the scene in such a big way last year that it was labeled as one of YouTube's top 10 trends of 2023, right alongside Peaches from the Mario movie, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and the Grimace Shake.
Are you kidding? God, you just got the month wrong. This is from a different month.
Okay, the answer for this round is Garden of Banban. Yet, here we stand. At the 1-year anniversary of the first Garden of Banban game with the latest installment just released, so I guess we're just going to talk about it until Poppy comes out, which will probably be a lot better. After what feels like an eternity for this franchise. Well, let me check my notes. 4 months.
And you won't be here for Poppy, will you, Matt?
The 5th installment of this game series dropped, naturally titled Garden of Banban 6. And relative to the rest of the series, Episode 6 is pretty tame. Episode 4 ended with a jester named Bittergiggle making Queen Bouncelia laugh, causing her giant kangaroo pouch to erupt into a sky beam which released the Naughty Ones. Episode 6 deals with the fallout of all those words I just said, where we have to face the leader of the Naughty Ones, Sir Dadadoo, using his mind control powers to take over the other mascots of the kindergarten. Oh, and we also get hit by a bus several times. Wasn't this a game about looking for our lost kid in the kindergarten? Whatever happened to that? But here's the thing. For as much as I joke about this game being lol, so
did I miss some theories on Garden of Bonbon, or is he just doing this on chapter 6? I'm literally gonna have to go back and look to see if I missed some Garden of Bonbon theories. Because that doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
The Euphoric brothers are smart. As we talked about in a previous theory, skipping the 5th installment was actually a big brain move on their part in both the marketing and storytelling departments. It showed me that there's actual thought and attention put into the way that this thing's being structured. And it was that realization that got me to go back and rethink all the insane things that this game throws at us. And of all the ridiculous, over-the-top, what the heck were they thinking moments in this game, none can compare to the dream sequences that we've been getting since chapter 3. Yeah, these insane fever dreams of storytelling, talking about beaches and featuring cameos from other indie franchises, these seem to have more method to their madness than any of us gave them credit for. I mean, when the Euphoric Brothers' main goal seems to be pumping out as many games as possible, as quickly as possible, it's weird for them to purposely spend a lot of time putting these things into the games just for the lulz, which means that they have to be important for some reason, right? So what are these dream sequences? Really? Why are we being shown them? And can they potentially reveal the solution to the kindergarten's largest mystery? I believe the answer is yes. And today, I'm gonna prove it to you. So before we figure out what exactly is going on here, we first need to remember what exactly these things are. In every instance, we're shown these dreams by the giant jellyfish, Stinger Flynn. This guy's been a bit of a question mark the entire series. Is he good? Is he bad? It's not exactly clear. When we first meet him in chapter 3, he basically tells us to give up on our quest to find our lost child because he's cooked up a scheme to get him and all the other children out of the facility safely. He tells us he's going to show us something that's going to totally convince us to stop looking for our kid, and instead he takes us into the first dream sequence where we're on a deserted island alongside him, talking about his lack of a tan.
I have never had actual seasons touch my skin. Can you imagine? And a year from the day that we finally met.
He then goes on to complain about his hyperintelligence and talk about how he yearns to be just a normal jellyfish. Sorry, what does any of this have to do with my missing kid? Before we leave, though, he does make one thing clear.
Of course, none of this is real, but it all could be.
Okay, so let's interpret what's going on with this first dream. This place, this beach, it isn't real. It's where he wishes to be and where he was destined to be when he was just a bunch of jellyfish DNA. That right there might seem obvious, but I don't know, man. I don't expect anyone to retain lore information about this game, let alone symbolically dissect what the glowing orange monotone jellyfish is saying during his underground dream sequence monologue as a giant sock puppet looms in the distance. This is the first dream, and it's showing us what freedom looks like to Flynn. Besides him saying that he wants to escape and then showing us the beach that he wants to be real, we also see him standing next to a car. The car has always been a representation of freedom, especially when you're talking about kids. Finally getting to drive yourself wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted, unrestrained by parents. A car equals freedom. And Stinger Flynn, in his dream, drove himself to this beach. He wants to take control of his destiny and find his personal freedom.
Just a record, a car does equal freedom. I found that out when I finally got one.
Nothing too difficult to parse in this one. Still not entirely sure how it applies to my missing kid, but we'll move on. In future dreams, Stinger Flynn isn't the only one who's trying to escape. For the second dream, we've got Ban Ban, Opilabird, Nab Nab, and Captain Fiddles all alongside him going through the desert looking for that proverbial beach. Feels kind of like a metaphor for this whole kindergarten facility, right? A barren wasteland with no real sense of direction, and most importantly, no end in sight. It's also worth noting in this one that Stinger Flynn is the only one to truly be aware of the freedom that could await them.
So, Stinger, when are we arriving at this place called beach?
Notice that Ban Ban uses quotations around the word beach here because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't know what freedom truly is. Freedom isn't his goal, but, he's more than willing to go along for the ride. Instead, Stinger Flynn is the driver. He's the one leading the charge. He's the one literally and figuratively driving them all towards freedom. There's just one problem with that. Stinger gets lost. He doesn't actually have any idea where this beach is.
I believe we are lost.
We've been going in circles for hours.
Despite wanting freedom and saying he has a plan to get everyone out of the facility, Stinger Flynn is clueless. He has no idea how to reach his end goal. He's just stuck in the purgatory alongside everyone else. And this is where things begin to fall apart. Flynn crashes the car, and as we see in the next dream sequence, the group end up sitting around the wreckage sharing whatever food they have left. Oh, and Zolphius is here now, just looming out in the background.
He's just standing there.
In this scene, we see how desperate the group is getting, specifically Stinger Flynn.
We each have our plans and goals, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
He's basically ready to give up. That is, until a surprise guest shows up. Choo Choo Charles! And while the Charles cameo itself feels unbelievably random, the actions that the other characters take, they don't. Stinger decides to capture a rescued Bam Bam. Nab Nab, meanwhile, confronts the train head-on to protect everyone. This is actually a series of events that we see repeat again in the dream sequence from Chapter 6. We see the crew all waiting for a bus to take them to the beach, only for Captain Fiddles to be kidnapped by a different bus. Nab Nab tries to go after him and is hit by a third bus, leaving the rest of the gang stranded, only for us to then be hit by a fourth bus. What's important to note in this bizarre sequence is Nab Nab's action. In both dreams, he runs in and tries to protect the other mascots. And what do we see at the end of Chapter 6? Ban Ban in trouble at the hands of Sir Dadadoo and Nab Nab stepping in to protect them all. Well, I think he stepped in. If I'm being thorough, I would say that he was injected with the chemical Jivanium and yeeted away, at which point he transforms into a giant Dark Souls boss and tears the naughty ones away, only to then lose and fall under the group mind control spell. So really, all of that is what we saw in the dream sequence coming true. Nab Nab stepping in to help, but ultimately getting hurt in the process. And you see, this is where the pieces started to click into place for me. If Nab Nab's fate from the dream came true, what other clues can we get from these things? Well, throughout the game, we've been collecting case reports full of lore that tells us about the experiments done to create these living mascots. Almost all of them end up with a very specific goal in mind. Is the subject ready for presentation? This presentation isn't a presentation for stockholders or investors, rather it's a presentation to parents and children. The fateful Bring a Friend Day, where the kindergarten ball pit collapses into the depths under the weight of the visitors. Most cases that we read about have been deemed not ready for presentation. However, there's one experiment that was considered enough of a success to present to the parents. Captain Fiddles, the one who was stolen into the bus. These dreams actually mean something. According to his case update report, while the captain's incapable of comprehensible speech, he showed exceptional stamina. He could perform simple mathematical operations, but most importantly of all, he imitated the behavior of a very obedient toddler. He was the best that the scientists had to offer. And so, as we see in one of the secret VHS tapes, Captain Fiddles was presented to the children on Bring a Friend Day, which means that he had to be separated from the rest of the gang, just like we're seeing in the dream. Think about all the imagery that we're seeing in this Chapter 6 dream. We see Captain Fiddles get kidnapped by a bus. If a car represents freedom in these dream sequences, then a bus, public transportation, is a symbol of authority and control. It's a representation of the kindergarten staff, the scientists, the system that these mascots find themselves trapped in. When they couldn't find freedom on their own, when they got lost and crashed their car, they instead had to begin playing along with the scientists and their experiments. If they did as they were told, maybe they would have a chance to escape, to finally reach that freedom, only for them to constantly be told that they weren't ready for presentation. But Captain Fiddles, he was. And so without warning, he suddenly ripped away from the rest. This also explains why we've only ever seen Zolphius from a distance. In our previous theory, I spoke about how two scientists working at the facility created this big worm Zolphius in a failed attempt to use a real kid to create the perfect child. A child that they would never be able to have naturally. But when the experiment was over, his face was deformed. His body didn't come together correctly. And so he was relegated to becoming one of the rejected mascots alongside Sir Dadadoo and Bitter Giggle. In fact, that's exactly what we see in the teaser for Ban Ban Chapter 7. A mural of Zolphius alongside these weird hybrid reject characters. These are the ones that are marked as permanently not ready for presentation. The ones that we learn through a note in Chapter 6 are planning a rebellion against the scientists. But Zolphius is in that first dream sequence with Stinger Flynn. Apparently all he wants is freedom. To be with other children. To be accepted. But he knows that he can't be. He is the reject. So he just keeps his distance, watching and hoping that maybe he can follow him to freedom, but never really feeling comfortable enough to really get to know anyone else. So the big question now is, why is Stinger Flynn showing us this? And also, why did we just get hit by a bus? Well,
I'm gonna pause one more time in the rest of this video just to say that, yeah, if I did see this theory previously, it might have been one that I missed. I'm literally gonna have to go back and look at my watch history and see if I've seen this before, because Ban Ban seems, the name sounds familiar, but why don't I recognize any of this? Still, now we get in the answer part of it. So if you've seen this previous theory, here comes the answer part.
Remember, in the game, we're playing as a parent that's trying to recover our lost child. And yet, at every turn, Stinger Flynn is quick to remind us that we're making a bad decision, that we should probably go home.
I wanted to let you know that this is all happening because of you. I would be free of my shackles, and everyone you hurt would not have been hurt. Because of your foolish decisions, we're even less likely now to ever get back to the children.
Our stubbornness, our ceaseless quest to find our child, is hurting everyone around us. And in Stinger's mind, will ultimately be futile. It's the exact same thing that we're seeing in the dream sequences. Stinger Flynn has a goal of freedom that he's relentlessly pursuing, and it looks like he's hurting his friends. Ban Ban's in trouble. They're getting kidnapped. They're getting hit by buses. It's also clear that trying to recover the kidnapped Captain Fiddles immediately gets Nab Nab injured. Apparently, those who try to recover others in this world are ultimately struck down. Basically, we're on a collision course with ourselves. We're destroying everyone.
Okay, so we're the mother of one of the children. Suddenly everything up at this point makes sense.
everything around us in this relentless pursuit of this one thing, hence why this bus hits us at the end of the dream. The dream also shows us the evolution of Ban Ban and Stinger Flynn's relationship. Throughout the series, it's clear that Ban Ban and Stinger aren't exactly friends. In fact, during Chapter 3, Stinger Flynn gets mad at us for even working with Ban Ban to find our missing kid. But as Flynn keeps showing us more and more of these visions of past events, it's clear that he and Ban Ban used to be friends. At least friendly enough for Flynn to have brought Ban Ban along on his little escape plan in the first place. But as things get worse and worse, we see the deterioration of their relationship. They are arguing nonstop.
You had one job and you messed that up somehow. If Uncle Josh was here, he would have loved those vegetables.
I am pretty content that he's not gracing us with his irritating presence.
Why do you hate him so much?
It gets so bad that Ban Ban decides that he doesn't even want the freedom that Flynn is offering anymore.
Why are we even doing all of this? I don't want to go to the beach anymore. I just want to go back.
And to really nail home this connection, the Euphoric Brothers had a song commissioned specifically for the Dream Car sequence, a song titled Rivals. In that song's music video, created by the nerdcore channel Rocket Music, the titular rivals are none other than Flynn and Ban Ban, a song that Ban Ban seems to really like.
That's what I'm talking about.
The lyrics to the song seem to be pointing at the moment that their relationship truly began to fall apart. In it,
I'm reading all those lyrics because I need to. I'm starting to understand it here. On here. Go. Because they started scrolling on screen, but they scrolled by too fast. Okay. Right here. Are they really going to scrabble? Oh, wait a minute. I got an idea. I got a really good idea, actually.
Flynn and Ban Ban.
Please tell me this TV's capable of it. It is.
A song that Ban Ban seems to really like.
That's what I'm talking about.
Traveling through the dark. What's with? Traveling through the dark. What's with these floating cars? I'm picking up these pieces of my fragile, broken heart. Cleaning up the infestation that's been made from terror deep inside of God-forsaken places. I'm a mess and I'm afraid of being infiltrated.
So
they got my mind, must have been sedated. Feels like the stinging in my brain is like a migraine came, and so it must be here to stay. You came by. What did I do to you? I've been brain fried on an island with you.
Seem to be
the baddest feeling in my bones. The only garden that I know. I'm stuck here searching all alone. Wrap around your tentacles. I can't breathe when you've got a hold on me.
pointing it.
Oh wait, that'll go back 5 seconds. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of my rivals. Don't tell me. I've got time.
The moment.
All right. Close enough. MattPat's gonna go into the next part anyway.
Found is Garden of Ban Ban. Yet here we stand at the 1-year anniversary of the first Garden of Ban Ban game with the latest installment just
13 minutes is where we gotta resume. Finish this off.
titled Rivals. In that song's music video, created by the nerdcore channel Rocket Music, the titular rivals are none other than Flynn and Ban Ban, a song that Ban Ban seems to really like.
That's what I'm talking about.
The lyrics of the song seem to be pointing at the moment that their relationship truly began to fall apart. In it, we have lyrics like, "Don't tell me I got time for an eye, don't take another life from me." Considering the song is from the perspective of Ban Ban, it would seem that Stinger Flynn took a life from him. But what life is that? What could that be meaning? Well, it's important to remember that most of the monsters in this game are a mix of human genome and Givanium. For Ban Ban, we know his human genome came from Dr. Uthman Adam, the head researcher at Ban Ban's kindergarten. This is also the scientist who, alongside Dr. Weverly Mason, tried to create the child that it would never be able to have, only for it to turn into a monster. Meanwhile, Stinger Flynn, we still don't know much about, honestly. We don't know who his human genome donor was. We don't know what they did. What we do know is that according to this little kid drawing found in Chapter 2, Stinger helped to save kids from a rampaging Ban Ban on the loose during Bring Your Friend Day. So really, this line about stolen lives can boil down to one of three things. One, Stinger Flynn was the human who put Uthman Adams' genome into Ban Ban in the first place, stealing his human life, and he's mad about it. Option 2 is that Stinger stole or harmed the child that Uthman created. And then there's option number 3. On Bring a Friend Day, we know Ban Ban went on a rampage. We also see hints of this in Chapter 5's preview images. Maybe Stinger, by saving that group of kids for his own unclear and suspicious motivations, literally took those lives away from Ban Ban. Regardless the reason, I suspect that the next few chapters are going to give us some more dream sequences that'll start depicting these events, leading to the realization that Ban Ban, the mascot that we thought we could trust, was the one that caused the ball pit to collapse on Bring a Friend Day. That he was the one that caused our child to disappear and sent us into the abyss trying to find them. But you know what? That's not the only mystery that we have left. During the dream cutscenes, whose perspective are we playing through? Naturally, you might assume that we're still in the perspective of the parent that we're playing as throughout the rest of the game. Or maybe we're not any character at all, that we're just some random floating camera observing these things happening. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense within the scenes themselves. First off, Ban Ban, Stinger Flynn, and the rest of the gang, they talk directly to our character.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
You sure are a sleepy fellow.
Morning, sleepy fellow.
We are a part of these dreams. We're watching this from the perspective of someone in the gang. So then, who are we? My first thought was that perhaps we're Jumbo Josh, but I was able to rule that one out pretty quickly thanks to this line from the campfire dream.
Man.
If Uncle Josh was here, he would have loved those vegetables.
The next possibility was Bambolina, but that one was also quickly shot down.
Really? You're breaking up. I was getting really bored. And that fellow over there isn't much of a talker.
If Bambolina was really part of Stinger Flynn's escape crew, then she would obviously know that Nab Nab is not a talker. Ban Ben wouldn't be needing to give her this sort of information, which means that whoever we are, we're someone new, or someone who doesn't know this group all that well. And that's shockingly rare to come by. I mean, almost all the characters that we've met so far have known each other, or at least have known about each other in some form. Toadster in Chapter 4 even has a poster of every character, including the Chapter 7 character Syringian, who we still haven't met in the games yet. Everyone knows everyone. Except for maybe one. There is one character that has been kept a secret this whole time. The one we also suspect was at Bring a Friend Day with Ban Ban, the perfect child. This child was purposely kept hidden, not just from the experiments, but from everyone. Quote from one of the lore documents. We have to turn it back around if we want our little secret down in the basement to stay a secret. Eventually, the child was thrown into the mix with the other mascots because a follow-up note says, not to mention how dangerous it is to keep him around all those other monstrosities. This child has been with Ban Ban and his crew for a while, which is why it makes sense for him to be traveling with the rest of the group in these dream sequences. And this then seems to point to the crux of this whole game franchise. At its core, it isn't about purple kangaroos or spider blobs or pancreases, pancreae, whatever the plural is. It's about family. The love of two scientists desperate for a child. The love of one parent searching for her lost kid. And it's about the tragedy that comes when you're separated from those children. Stinger Flynn potentially takes away Ban Ban's kid on Bring a Friend Day, sending him into a rampage. This then prompts the overstuffed ball pit to collapse, leading to the catastrophic situation in which our character finds herself. So laugh all you want about the weird, veiny mascots with dumb names and stiff animations. At its core, this is a human story told through weird, esoteric dream sequences, poorly written text documents, and monotone monologues. But if you manage to get through all of that and the strange and often boring gameplay, underneath you have something beautiful. Or, you know, maybe not beautiful, but at the very least it's interesting. Or if not interesting, at the very least you have yourself a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
So that's it for this week's theories, all 4 of them. Don't know how this video ended up, how long this video ended up being. It has to have been at least an hour because that was an 18-minute theory. Then we had the 30-minute MattPat theory. Then we had a 15-minute theory. That is some of the other video I was watching. What's the link to the other theory? Oh, it's 17 minutes. So yeah, that is definitely over an hour worth of theories that I saved because I do want to, as I said, do a reaction to all this. I'm thinking about getting a proper camera for my setup, but the setup I'm currently in for a couple of months, it's probably gonna stay this way. But when I go do actual reaction videos, I do have a camera. It's just not with me. I didn't think that I was going to start my video reactions until I got back to my normal setup. But when I heard that MattPat was leaving YouTube, I was like, no, I got to start my reaction career now. I've got to be starting with my videos. And I will say that in the case of this might be one of the cases where initially about halfway through this video, I didn't think I was going to be interested in this. I've probably seen the Ban theory and just didn't remember it. But I do recall that seemed to sort of be the case with his Five Nights at Freddy's theories too, where I initially wasn't interested, but like a few videos in, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. Which would very much be the same case as today, where I don't remember the other video if I did watch it. Oh, it's actually looking like I didn't. I don't know when this theory happened. 15-minute theory 3 months ago. And I didn't like it, so I missed it. I was actually commenting on the theory, MattPat.com, and his MattPat is one bad indie game away from going insane. And I don't know, maybe that's part of why he's leaving YouTube. But yeah, so there was unfortunately a theory I missed. It happens sometimes. Even the people I'm most subscribed to, if I don't know that there's a theory, I miss it sometimes. There are actually quite a few game theories. I'm not gonna react to them. I'm gonna go back and there's a theory, the never-ending nightmare, the Bunny Graveyard. I missed, or I started that one, but I didn't finish it. The cool math game ARG Goes to Some Dark Places. That one I didn't even start. 4 weeks ago there was a GTA 6 spoiled its entire story in the trailer. I'm usually pretty good about keeping up with these theories, but over the past couple of weeks I was, as I said, just trying to get things set up. I'm gonna watch these ones on my own. I'm gonna be back. I guess I'll be back next week to react to the 8 theories. 9 theories remained on each of his channel, and now 8 theories remain on each of his channel. So I'll be back to react to those. Maybe there'll be another Ban theory. There's one from 5 months ago I missed about My Friendly Neighborhood. Where YouTube was. I'm gonna have to go back and check how many of his other theories I missed. Why is YouTube not recommending these? I know I've seen all of his food theories. Food theories are usually something I watch instantly. So I know I'm caught up on that because I was looking at that earlier. And style theories, I think I've missed like one style theory that I have to go back from like 3 months ago. Film theories are another one. Film and food are the two that I've never missed a video. Style, it's newer, so I've been caught up. There's probably one or two missed theories. And game theory, it's his oldest channels. Honestly, it was like his second FNAF theory that I probably started watching him. So it's been a pretty darn long time. Oh, wait, no, that's history. I want to go back. I want to look at all his. That was a pain in the butt. But yeah, this video's gone on long enough. It is about reacting to the final 9 theories on each of his 4 channels. Again, if there is a GT Live that they do, I won't be reacting to any GT Live, with the exception of if his final stream before he officially retires on GT Live, they have some sort of special event that I will react to. Might not be able to do it live because I work at night, but this is one of the nights I don't work, so I went ahead and devoted a little over an hour to it. And now I'm gonna go work on my ski videos because I do want to get those up. I'm not skiing tomorrow or Tuesday, so those will be coming up. MattPat, I don't know if you'll ever see these videos. Well, maybe someday you'll see them. I don't think it'll be right now. But thank you for all you've done on YouTube. And I'm looking forward to your final 8 theories on each channel. I'll be reacting to them live. And I promise I won't watch them till this. And maybe I'll have a better setup next week. I don't know. This is certainly a better setup than last week because I was in camera the whole time and made less interruptions. I still have to make some interruptions because I don't want this to be the whole thing. So I'll end by saying this. If you did watch this entire video, go at least play the theories, play them for like 30 seconds, and then you could just skip ahead to the end so that they're marked as watched on his channel. All right? That's what I'll do with like a lot of reaction videos. I'll like watch someone react it, and then I'll find out who the actual YouTuber is, and I'll go and I'll play the video for like 30 seconds, and then I'll skip ahead to the end of the video and let that play for like 30 seconds so that the video gets marked as watched. Again, I know there's the whole YouTube thing of that the video was only technically watched for 1 minute, but it helps me mark it as something that's been watched. Certainly go subscribe to MattPat if you aren't. Game theory, food theory, style theory, and film theory. Because I honestly believe that even when MattPat leaves in March, I'm sure he's picked good people. Santi, film theory, I forgot what the other guy's name is. I just suck with names. He mentioned who's taken over. Was it style theory or game theory? He mentioned who was taken over. But I don't know how much of MattPat we're going to see in a couple weeks, but we're going to see him for another 9 weeks. So I guess I will see you guys next week when I do reaction. And then so no one's watching right now because this is long, but hopefully playback. Ravi and Sarana, a strong duo, was not the only commenter. This episode of BLUEY is called Theories. She also said, watch Olive enters Wow Factor. And it doesn't say at what point she said that. I don't know if that was about BLUEY or something else. And then Marta Rodriguez says, hi, so hi back to you. I know someone just joined, but I'm actually ending the video, so if you... wow, this video went for almost 2 hours. I reacted to all 4 of MattPat's theories from the past 2 days. I'm sure it'll take a few minutes for this to process, but once it's processed, you can watch the playback.